So this will be the last for real Supergirl vlog for a while. Um, might do some like season reviews or whatever, but they'll probably be classified under the whole super sidebar thing because I've totally been using that gimmick. But okay, overall, I'm gonna say I liked it and I'm satisfied. I do want to get that out of the way. That said, there was enough that bugged me. It kind of took away from it. For starters, as I've mentioned before, the show can be really rushed at times, and yeah, this felt really rushed in a lot of places. And it's just really hard to tell how time works on this show sometimes, because I don't know, just whenever Supergirl or Kara goes to Catco, it always seems like the start of a new day for some reason, probably because she's always carrying coffee. But so yeah, that's always a little confusing. But uh, one thing that surprised me in a good way though was how they handled the mind control thing. I mean, once they said we're gonna piggyback a symbol thing about hope, I called exactly what was gonna happen, which, as I've said before, is fine because I liked how they did it. First of all, I was surprised that was the cold open. The cold open was taking care of Myriad, or the mind control aspect of Myriad. So I thought that was something of a twist. I expected that to be like she would be taking on Non and Indigo while Maxwell Lord and Wynn tried to fix Myriad or something like that. So one could argue it's kind of rushed, and yeah, I'm not going to argue that, but it was a nice way to play on our expectations. And that frickin' speech, that that was fantastic. That was really, really good. That was just everything it needed to be. I mean, I believe that would work, and it did. My roommate made a really good point. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in at least one of these that I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I know it through the modern series. I mean, I've seen some of the classic stuff and I enjoy it, but what I'm most familiar with is your Matt Smiths, your Peter Capaldis, and your David Tennants. And for the most part, I love Doctor Who, but there have been a couple, well, more than a few instances where it's rubbed me the wrong way. And the biggest example of that is the end of Series 3. And that's especially frustrating because it's only this one part. Like, leading up to the part, it's fine, and then after the part, it's fine. But how the Doctor defeats the bad guy of that season has always bothered me. It never ever made sense to me. And it's actually one of those things where the more I mean, season 3 was, God, that was almost 10 years ago. But the more I've thought about it over the years, the less sense it makes. And I'm not going to go into it, but basically the writers made it so I could not accept it. I could not suspend my disbelief. And it was basically the same thing that happened here. Is the Doctor was a representation of hope, and it broke the bad guys. I don't even remember exactly what. I'm sorry, I'm scratching my nose a lot. I don't mean to, but yeah, that it was handled in such a way that I just could not buy it. And it's nothing against any of the actors on that show, because if I was doing Doctor Who vlogs, you would be just as sick of me talking about the awesome cast. But it just never worked. And like I said, every once in a while I find myself thinking about that ending, and it just makes less and less sense every time. So yeah, my roommate, after the cold open, was just like, "That's how you do it, Russell T Davies." And I was like confused for a second. He explained that was basically the Doctor Who season 3 ending, only it worked, and he's absolutely right. So if nothing else, I appreciate that. But yeah, that speech was fantastic. we got pretty much every character who's been in this show ever, more than just like a one-shot villain role. Like we didn't get Red Tornado, but we got General Lane, we got Lucy Lane, we got Helen Slater. I just love it that they brought everyone in, and I'm so glad they kept Lucy Lane around after she served her purpose of being a obstacle in the love triangle, because she's a great character. I have no real knowledge of Lucy Lane in the comics. I mean, I know I've read stories with her. I know she's in the military. I I know other stories that they may or may not do in the show, so I won't bring them up. But that's about it. I just know the gist of her character. She's in the military. That's about it. So I really love her in the show. I'm glad they're keeping her around. Um, yes, and Maxwell Lord. They well, first of all, there was more meta humor because he talks about a countdown, and the story where you find out he's evil and wants to kill all the superheroes is called Countdown to Final Crisis, or not Countdown to Infinite Crisis. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but if it was, kudos. And again, my roommate had to point that one out to me. But yeah, he was more than just a Lex Luthor clone in this episode. He seemed like he had possibly changed his mind about Supergirl. At the very least, he expressed concern toward her. It's like, hey, he pointed out, okay, they've switched Myriad now. Instead of controlling everybody, it's going to make everybody's head explode. And, he's just like, Supergirl, you realize you're screwed, right? So, yeah, he wasn't angry or anything. I mean, if it was Lex Luthor, I imagine he would have been arrogant, and not even you can save us or something. So yeah, kudos for finally doing something different with him. And even at the end where we see him hold the MacGuffin at the end, like the typical shady backdoors epilogue type thing. Even then, he doesn't have the stereotypical look. He's not smiling or looking particularly sinister. To me, he looked unsure, like he didn't know what he would do with that, if anything. But speaking of that and references, it's the Omegahedron, the MacGuffin from the Supergirl movie, which I forgot to mention in the vlog for the episode where it first showed up. Again, kudos. These shows work the best when they embrace their comic book heritage. Again, that is why Flash works. It just embraces what it is, and it makes it work. And again, I haven't seen much of Arrow, but the general consensus from people I've talked to about it is it's trying to hide where it came from, like it's embarrassed. Like the more recent Fantastic Four movie wanted to they acknowledged they came from a comic book because they had to. I mean, I never saw it, but honestly, that alone should tell you how wrong they've got that movie. It's like the one comic book movie I did not bother to see. I just not hear anything encouraging about it. And anyway, that does bring me to one of the things that annoyed me. So Supergirl's informed her odds are screwed, so she goes saying goodbye to everybody, which were all great. My one, and I guess this could be considered a nitpick, because I don't want to go as far to call it a complaint. Superman was still out for the count. And he's in this. We only see him by his boots in this episode, which I'm fine with. That doesn't bother me. I really like how they're handling Superman in this show, honestly. But she says goodbye to Martian Manhunter, who's handcuffed in the same room, and it's basically says, "Yeah, I'm saying goodbye," and then she starts talking about, "I was sent to this planet to protect Kal-El," And, she goes on how it's become more than that. Again, that's not what bothers me. What bothers me is there should have been just a moment where she stops by Superman and, like, holds his hand or tells him goodbye. I mean, they could have done it without showing his face. Right? Again, that isn't the problem. Just the fact that he was right freaking there. And we've seen in previous episodes she has a lot of love and admiration for her cousin. We don't get to see her say goodbye to him. I felt kind of cheated with that. That bugged me a lot. I don't particularly like how she said goodbye to James because it was the tropes that make me hate love triangles and the like. I hate the will they won't they crap. I hate the let's break up 20 times to get back together 21 times. So, I mean, I get why she did it, so I kind of forgiving, but she couldn't just say, I love you and hug him. I mean, I like that James figured out what was going on, and I like that they kissed at the end, though, again, if I'm rooting for anybody, I'm rooting for Win. And it was, So yeah, I just don't like that she went that particular route. I mean, like I said, I guess I can move on from it. Oh, I know there was other stuff. Well, there is the ending. See, as I've mentioned before, and as far as I can tell, Supergirl has not yet officially been confirmed for a second season. So this show did what a lot of other shows have done, where they just basically they wrapped everything up loosely. Kara gets a promotion, and Cat Grant calls her by name, the correct name. Holy crap. Again, I love that moment. And, everything. It seems like one story is over and the next one is beginning. If they had kept it at that, there's no way there's no way I'm going to be happy if there's no season 2. There needs to be a season 2. I mean, as much as I may have complained about the show in any of these, the good far, far, far outweighs any bad. And it ends with a, happy dinner again. Pretty much all the regular cast and Helen Slater, because actually she's the only regular cast member that wasn't in that room. And again, I was kind of hoping, because they said, there's one extra place. She could have said Clark was coming. That's what I was hoping for, but, again. And again, that probably should have been the last scene. I would have been okay if they went up to the point where they see the comet or whatever, and she runs at the camera opening the shirt. If that was the last shot, I would have been satisfied with what we got. I would always want more. I will forever want more. The show could go on for 20 years. I will want 21. Even if it gets Simpsons bad. Well, maybe not if it gets Simpsons bad, but then it does what I always dread in situations like this. It ends on a cliffhanger. Another Kryptonian ship. Kara opens it, goes, oh my god, we don't get to see what it is, and then it's over. And I hate it when shows that we don't know if are going to come back end like that, because now I will forever be frustrated. I mean, yeah, there is a tie-in comic now, and it's being written by the guy who made pre-New 52 Supergirl so awesome. But that won't be the same. That won't be Melissa Benoist and David Hardwood and Jeremy Jordan and everybody else. I mean, from what I've seen of the comic book, the art looks like comic book Supergirl. It doesn't look anything like Melissa Benoist, and that's part of the reason why I haven't read it yet. Is that just my brain wouldn't be able to make that connection since they don't look anything like her. But if it doesn't get a second season, And I really want to know what's in that ship. I want to know if they're going to do Power Girl, or are they doing another take on Superboy? Is it going to be Crypto or Streaky? I would love it if it was Crypto or Streaky. I don't think this show would go that route. But come on, you can't tell me Kara trying to deal with a super cat wouldn't be hilarious for at least a couple of episodes. Speaking of how I'm kind of frustrated with how they handled Clark in this episode. We got another I am conversation, and while, like I've mentioned before, those always give me the warm fuzzies. They've been one of my favorite parts of the show. It didn't stay on screen long enough for me to read just about any of it. I got Clark saying "my hero," and that was about it. And it just goes by so freaking quick. And another big point of frustration wasn't so much the show itself as CBS's freaking service kept screwing up. Toward the end, it kept like skipping like a record, so we had to watch parts of scenes over and over again, like it did with Flash. I also didn't like the song they picked for the dinner scene, because it's nothing against the song so much. It's just on the radio here, it's been played constantly, and I'm just sick of it. I mean, I appreciate the meta humor and everything, but it's just, I guess I'm just tired of the song. But no, I don't want to dwell on the bad too much, because overall, it was good. If nothing else, the speech alone would have been worth the price of admission, had I paid for, like, this was a movie. Character moments were spot on. I mean, they didn't just swipe Kelly under the rug. Maybe they could have done more, but again, the pacing was so fast. But they acknowledged that she's not around. Like, there was flowers and stuff around her empty cubicle. And, Kara was obviously still feeling guilty about it. I know I just said I don't want to dwell on the negative. But, the show still needs to work on its fight scenes. The big final fight with Indigo and Non with full-on Martian Manhunter was really not impressive. The two, like, final blows were fantastic. Didn't get my throat blast, but I got something almost as good. And we literally got to see Martian Manhunter rip Indigo in half. That was surprisingly brutal. I mean, she's a robot, so it was fine. She even had a couple lines after that. But yeah, this was leading to the big moment where I realized how rushed the episode was. Again, this is mostly me being a fan of the comic books. So, but it did just I couldn't reconcile it in my brain. Supergirl and Superman flying through space has never been an issue in, like, any version of the comics. From what I understand, in more modern comics, they need an air supply and they might need a ship for longer voyages, but they can hold their breath. Like, the most common number I've always heard is they can hold their breath for at least 2 hours, and they can survive the vacuum, and they have no problem flying. So the fact that once she breaks atmosphere, she's helpless. My comic book nerd brain was just screaming, no, 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 no. I mean, they could have done something where, like, she got too close to like, she was trying to push it into the sun, and, like, it knocked her unconscious on the way out. Just about anything other than I broke through the atmosphere and now I'm helpless. No. Just no. And again, this didn't bother me so much as what they did or how they did it. It just, like I said, there was just something about how it was done just seemed super duper rushed. Alex saves Supergirl in the pod that brought her to Earth. That in itself is fine. Again, Alex is awesome. It was a better way. I mean, I would have been okay if Superman saved her, but that probably would have had some feminist backlash. But again, just something about how it was shot bugged me. But again, it was set up, and, like, the episode, yeah, it was set up in the part one of this story where Supergirl uses the thrusters to knock Lucy Lane down. So they established that it still worked, and we never got any indication that it didn't. But yeah, that was in itself was handled well done. Just something about how it was shot. So yeah, going back to the positive, there was one line that really, really got me because I love the scene where this is set up so much. I think it was Manhunter, but we get to see a flashback of how Kara gets her glasses. And it's just a great scene. Love it. But when Supergirl is saying her goodbye to Alex, she says, "When you find Jeremiah, tell him I never stopped wearing the glasses." That one, like, right here. And I have officially breached 20 minutes. I haven't done that before, but I think for the season finale, I'm allowed. I will try to wrap it up here soon, though. So, yeah, I mean, trying not to get too redundant, but there is never any fault with the cast, and no one can. Supergirl. Melissa Benoist is to Supergirl as to what Kevin Conroy and Josh Keaton are to Spider-Man for a lot of people. She is what Christopher Reeves is to Superman for most people. She is Supergirl. If nothing else, even if the show gets canceled after this, I am just forever grateful we got to see her take on the character. And if I ever meet her, I may cry. I might make a mess of myself because, again, I don't know if I've made it clear enough just how much the character of Supergirl has come to mean to me over the years, especially recently, as I mentioned in one of my other vlogs. Just to see her represented just almost perfectly like she would be if I were writing the character. I mean, yeah, again, for any problems the show might have, I don't recall, not even so much the performances, I don't recall the character ever seeming wrong to me. I mean, I'm sure if I go back and watch some of these vlogs, I might contradict myself here, but I mean, even the girl who has everything, the fault was never with the character or how she was represented. It was how the story was told. It was a narrative problem. Oh, yeah, CBS, one, please fix your streaming service. Please, 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 especially if you're going to get a exclusive Star Trek series. Your servers will literally explode with what it is now. And please, please, please give us Supergirl Season 2. The show deserves it. The show more than deserves it. If nothing else, give the rights to CW. I mean, they probably don't have the budget, but they'll do something. Oh, it needs a Season 2, please. I'll give you a kidney. Give me a Season 2. But I am approaching 24 minutes, and I literally am drawing a blank for anything else I want to mention. And I'm getting repetitive, so I've really enjoyed this season. I've come to enjoy recording these vlogs, and I'll probably do at least one or two sidebars before, I'm just going to be optimistic, before Season 2 starts. So, thanks for taking this ride with me, and hopefully see you guys in the fall.